We know a body is kept on the horizontal surface. One body is kept on the horizontal surface. It is initially at rest with respect to floor. Unless you apply an external force on a body, is it continuous state of rest or uniform motion? Suppose one body is at rest over the surface of the table. It is initially at rest with respect to table. If you do not apply any force on a body, is the body starts their motion by itself, or is it continuous state of rest only? If you do not apply any force on a body, initially it is at rest. If you do not apply any force on a body, is the body continuous state of rest, or by itself it changes its rest? No. First you answer to my question. Okay, I know it was already completed. I know. You answer to my question. Initially the body is at rest. When if you do not apply any force on a body, is it starts their motion by itself, or it continues state of rest? It will be at rest only. That means this body at rest is unable to change itself its state of rest to motion. Suppose if this body travel with some velocity, constant velocity in forward direction, unless you apply any force on a body, moving with certain velocity along horizontal direction, is the body can change its velocity either in direction or magnitude or both by itself? No. Such inability of a body, by means of which the body cannot change itself its state of rest or uniform motion along a straight line, unless it is applied by any external force, unless it is compelled by any external force, is called, such inability of a body is called, what do we call such inability? Translational inertia. That is called translational inertia. What is the measure of translational inertia? What is the measure of translational inertia? What is the measure of translational inertia? Yeah, very good. Mass. Sriram. Yes, very good. Mass. Sahit. Okay, mass is the measure of translational inertia. That is the case of translational motion. That means the body travel along straight line. In such case, the inability of a body by means of which it cannot change itself its state of rest or uniform motion along a straight line unless it is compelled by any external force, that is called the translational inertia. The measure of translational inertia is called the rotational mass. The measure of translational inertia is called mass. That is the mass. Okay. Now suppose one body which can be rotated is at rest. Suppose you say fan. The fan is at rest. It is not rotating. Unless you apply any torque on a body, unless you apply any torque on the fan, is the fan rotates by itself? Is the fan rotates itself? Of course, by switch on, we apply the torque inside the motor. Due to that, it starts rotation. Unless you apply any torque on the body which can be rotated, the body cannot start the rotatory motion. Suppose if any body is rotating with some angular speed or angular velocity, with constant angular velocity it is rotating. For example, when you switch on the fan for a long time, then the fan rotates with constant angular speed. At that time, if you do not apply any torque to stop them, will the fan be able to stop by themselves? No other torques or acts. No torque due to wind, due to friction, due to electric power. No torque, no external torque acts on them. Can we stop the rotating body? We cannot stop. That means the inability of a rotating body by means of which it cannot change its state of rest or state of rotating motion unless it is applied by any external torque. That is called the rotational inertia. That is called the rotational inertia. The measure of rotational inertia is called the moment of inertia, just like mass. Moment of inertia. It is generally represented with capital I. So moment of inertia means the inability of the moment of inertia means the inability. Actually, there are two types of definitions: mathematical definition, physical definition. That means microscopic definition, macroscopic definition. Microscopic definition gives the understanding of the moment of inertia. Macroscopic definition gives the measurement of the moment of inertia. So microscopic definition means that means quantitative definition. Qualitative, quantitative. There are two types of definitions are there. Qualitative and quantitative. Qualitative definition of the moment of inertia means that tells us the understanding of the moment of inertia. What is the moment of inertia? We can understand based on that qualitative definition. Quantitative definition means with the help of that quantitative definition, we can measure the moment of inertia of the body. Okay. So first, qualitative definition of the moment of inertia. The inability of a rotating body by means of which the body cannot change itself its state of rest or uniform rotating motion unless it is applied by any external torque is called rotational inertia. The measure of rotational inertia is called the moment of inertia. The inability of a body, the inability of a rotating body, the inability of a rotating body by means of which the body cannot change. The body cannot change itself, its state of rest, or uniform rotatory motion. State of rest or uniform rotatory motion. Unless it is applied by an external torque. An external torque is called in inverted commas rotational inertia. Rotational inertia. The measure of rotational inertia is called moment of inertia. The measure of rotational inertia is called moment of inertia. Moment of inertia. So the inability of a body by means of which it cannot change itself its state of rest or uniform rotating motion unless it is applied by any external torque is called rotational inertia. The measure of rotational inertia is called the moment of inertia. That's why what is the measure of rotational inertia? It is the moment of inertia. So in rotating motion, we have to say moment of inertia. In translated motion, we have to say the mass of the body. If mass of the body is more, inertia of the body is said to be more in case of translated motion. In case of rotating motion, if moment of inertia is more, the rotational inertia is said to be more. What is the importance? If any rotating body is having more moment of inertia, then such body, the angular speed of that body is unable to change easily. ఏ బాడీకి అయితే మూమెంట్ ఆఫ్ ఇనర్షియా ఎక్కువ ఉంటుందో అటువంటి బాడీని దానికి స్టేట్ ఆఫ్ మోషన్ కానీ స్టేట్ ఆఫ్ రెస్ట్ ని కానీ మనం ఈజీగా చేంజ్ చేయలేం. ఇఫ్ ఎనీ బాడీ ఈస్ హ్యావింగ్ మోర్ మూమెంట్ ఆఫ్ ఇనర్షియా, that the state of rotating motion of that body cannot be changed easily. That is the importance of moment of inertia. If any body is having less moment of inertia, the rotating motion of that body can be changed very easily by applying the small amount of torque only. If any body is having more moment of inertia, in order to change the rotating motion of that body, more torque is required for them. So that is the importance of the moment of inertia. I think you could understand what is the moment of inertia. What is the importance of moment of inertia? I think. Are you followed? Are you understood what is the importance of the moment of inertia? If any body is having more moment of inertia, then such body, in that body, we cannot change its rotating motion very easily. If any body is having less moment of inertia, then the rotating motion of that body can be changed easily with the help of the less torque only. That is the importance of the moment of inertia. Now here, this is the qualitative definition of the moment of inertia. Qualitative definition of the moment of inertia. That means it gives what is the importance of the moment of inertia. How we can measure? That measurement of moment of inertia can be obtained by quantitative definition of the moment of inertia. So how we can define the quantitative definition? So in this week, we are having mainly in rotating in this week syllabus, we are having mainly the moment of inertia. Very, very important. Here, the moment of inertia depends on the first one. Moment of inertia is generally represented with capital I. I depends on mass of the body or mass of the particles in a body or in a system. Distribution of mass and position of axis of rotation. About which axis the body rotates. Based on that position of axis of rotation also, moment of inertia depends. Position of axis of rotation. So these are the factors mainly on which the moment of inertia depends. Here, suppose if the mass of the rotating body is more, then it rotates for more time before coming to rest. When you switch up, suppose you take the fan, if the mass of the blades are more, then even you stop the switch, then the fan rotates for more time and comes to rest. Before coming to rest, the time taken by the fan to come to rest more if mass of the blades of the fan are more. Next, it depends on the distribution of mass. If the length of the fan blades are more, when you switch off, then before coming to rest, it takes more time to come rest if distribution of mass is more. If the length of the fan blades are more, means the mass is distributed through greater distance from the axis of rotation, then we can say distribution of mass is more. Distribution of mass ఎక్కువ ఉంది అంటే axis of rotation దగ్గర నుంచి బాడీ యొక్క మాస్ ఎక్కువ డిస్టెన్స్ వరకు ఎక్స్టెండ్ అయి ఉంటే, if the mass of the body is extended to more distances from the axis of rotation, then we can say distribution of mass is more. Okay. No, here greasing, everything is properly there. Pranit Reddy, that definitely greasing, everything is there, smooth, bearings are very smooth. Even then, I am talking, here if the distribution of mass is more, they come rest after long time. That means it takes more time to come rest. That is the advantage of that is the effect of the distribution of mass. Position of axis of rotation. Suppose if the distance of the rotating body from the axis of rotation is more, it takes more time to come rest. When you try to stop them. That means the moment of inertia depends on the distribution of mass, position of axis of rotation, and mass of the particles or mass of a body which is rotating about the axis of rotation. These are the parameters, these are the factors on which the moment of inertia depends. Okay, one example I want to discuss. Suppose, first of all, I will take the simple example. One particle, point size particle, one just like electron, making rotations along the circular path or circular orbit around the nucleus, or one particle is made to rotate about the center of the circular path O. The mass of the particle is say m, and the speed of the at certain instant of time, whenever the particle is here, its speed is say v in this direction. The radius of the circular path is r. Then here the moment of inertia of this particle depends on the mass of the particle and distribution of mass from the axis of rotation. Axis of rotation means that O is the axis of rotation. Center of the circular path is the axis of rotation. From this O, distribution of mass means at what perpendicular distance the particle of mass m lies from the axis of rotation. Perpendicular distance ante దీని యొక్క డైరెక్షన్ ఆఫ్ మోషన్ కి పర్పెండిక్యులర్ గా ఉండే డిస్టెన్స్ అంటే ఇది. ఈ డైరెక్షన్ ఆఫ్ మోషన్ అలాంగ్ టాంజెన్షియల్ డైరెక్షన్ ఉంటుంది కదా, పర్పెండిక్యులర్ డిస్టెన్స్ మీన్స్ దిస్ వన్. So here the moment of inertia of this particle about this axis or about this point depends on the mass of the particle and perpendicular distance of this particle from the axis of rotation. The ee రెండిటి మీద డిపెండ్ అవుతుంది, provided the axis of rotation is fixed here. Okay, now the moment of inertia of this particle is measured as mass of the particle into square of the perpendicular distance of the particle from the axis of rotation. Perpendicular distance of the particle from the axis of rotation means perpendicular to the direction of its motion from the axis of rotation when particle lies here. పార్టికల్ ఈ పొజిషన్ దగ్గర ఉన్నప్పుడు దానికి డైరెక్షన్ ఆఫ్ మోషన్ కి పర్పెండిక్యులర్ గా ఉండే డిస్టెన్స్ ఫ్రమ్ ది యాక్సిస్ ఆఫ్ రొటేషన్ అంటే ఇదే కదా. సో m into r square, that is the moment of inertia of the particle. About this point, moment of inertia depends on the position or point or axis about which particle rotates. Already I said here, depends on position of axis of rotation also. So about this point, what is the moment of inertia of this particle means product of mass and square of the perpendicular distance of the particle from the axis of rotation. That is the formula for moment of inertia of the particle. Okay. Position of axis of rotation means, suppose if the particle rotates about this point or about this axis, then from the position of axis of rotation, perpendicular distance is this one. If the same particle is rotated about this axis, then the particle rotates about this axis. The perpendicular distance increases, no? That means whenever the axis of rotation changes, then perpendicular distance also changes. So moment of inertia also changes. That's why here about this axis or about this point, moment of inertia of the particle is this one. Okay. Now, is it a vector or scalar? Is moment of inertia is a vector or scalar? Moment of inertia is neither vector nor scalar. We cannot say this as the vector. We cannot say it is as a scalar, because here about different points the moment of inertia of the same particle are different. About this axis, moment of inertia this one. About this axis, moment of inertia of the same particle means m into perpendicular distance square means 2r whole square. No, about this point, that means it depends on the position of the axis of rotation. About different axis, the moment of inertia of the same particle are different. That's why it is treated as a tensor. So moment of inertia is, it is a tensor. It is called as a tensor. Called as tensor. Moment of inertia is a tensor. That means it has neither it is neither a scalar nor vector. The value of moment of inertia depends on the position of axis of rotation. Such type of physical quantity is called a tensor. That is not a vector, that is not a scalar. It depends on the position of axis of rotation. Okay, that's why it is called a tensor. What is the SI unit of moment of inertia? SI unit of moment of inertia. Tell me. Formula for moment of inertia is this one. What is the SI unit of moment of inertia? SI unit of moment of inertia. Tell me. SI unit of moment of inertia. M into R square. Mass into distance square means kilogram meter square. Then what is the dimension formula of moment of inertia? Dimension formula moment of inertia is equal to dimension formula of moment of inertia formula is mr square. Mr square. That is equal to dimension formula of mass means capital M. Dimension formula of distance square means distance is nothing but length square. As time function is not there, we can write t to the power of 0. So m to the power of 1 L square t to the power of 0 is the dimension formula of the moment of inertia. Dimension formula of moment of inertia. Here we consider the moment of inertia of a single particle about the given axis of rotation. Suppose if you consider the system which consists of number of particles. If you consider the system, what is tensor? Okay. What is the tensor means? I said no. The physical quantity which value depends on the position of axis of rotation. Position of axis. Then such type of physical quantity is called a tensor. So it is not a vector. It is not a scalar. Okay. Right. Next. Here it is. In first example, we discussed the moment of inertia of the particle about this axis. Suppose if the system is there, system consists of number of particles. In such case, how we can write the formula for moment of inertia? When the system consists of number of particles, when the system consists of number of particles, then what about the formula for moment of inertia? Example 2. Moment of inertia of system. Suppose there is a rigid body. It is a rigid body. Already I said rigid body at the beginning only. It is a rigid body which is composed of so many number of particles. Suppose we imagine some particles like this. Here, like this. Here, this is the axis of rotation. About this axis, the entire system rotates about this axis of rotation with certain angular velocity. with angular velocity say omega. Okay, here whenever this system rotates about this axis with angular velocity omega, then each and every particle moving along the circular path about this axis, no? Suppose that here this is the mass of the particle, say m1. Whenever it is rotating like this, the perpendicular distance of this particle from the axis of rotation is say r1. This particle of mass m2, perpendicular distance is say r2. Okay, this particle is having say mass m3, perpendicular distance is say r3. This particle having mass m4, perpendicular distance is say r4, like this. Here, whenever this system or body, rigid body, rotates about this axis, then each and every particle in the body move along the circular path like this, no? Move along the circular path like this, no? Isn't it? Each and every particle move along the circular path like this, of radius equal to perpendicular distance r. Okay, then the centers of all circular paths lies on the same line. The centers of all circular paths lies on the same line. That is called axis of rotation. So this line is called, you see, whenever the body is in rotating motion like this about this axis, each and every particle move along the circular path. Okay, the centers of circular paths of all the particles in the body lies on the same line, which is called axis of rotation. Axis of rotation. And the planes of circular paths of all the particles are perpendicular to this axis of rotation. Such line on which centers of all circular paths of the particles in a body lies, and the line which is perpendicular to the planes of circular paths of all the particles lies, that is called the axis of rotation. So about this axis of rotation, what is the moment of inertia of this system or moment of inertia of this rigid body? That means here the sum of the moments of inertia of each and every particle in the body from the axis of rotation gives the moment of inertia of the entire system. So I is equal to moment of inertia of the first particle about this axis is equal to, here perpendicular distance means, suppose whenever the particle travel like this, perpendicular distance means, you see, suppose when the particle move along the circular path, this is represented here, mass of the particle is here, that move along the circular path. While travel along the circular path, suppose its speed is say v1, that v1 is along tangential direction. Then from the center of the circular path, here this is the perpendicular distance. Perpendicular to the direction of its velocity, whatever the distance from the center, that is called perpendicular distance. These all are the perpendicular distances. So according to the moment of inertia of the single particle, mass of the particle into perpendicular distance square, that is the moment of inertia of one particle, plus moment of inertia of the other particle, m2 r2 square, m3 r3 square, plus and so on. This is the moment of inertia of the entire rigid body or entire system about the given axis of rotation. If axis of rotation changes, moment of inertia also changes. If axis of rotation changes, moment of inertia also changes, because when axis of rotation changes, perpendicular distances changes, no? That's why moment of inertia changes. That's why moment of inertia depends on the axis of rotation. Okay. Now this formula can be written as simply, here this can be written as R. Moment of inertia is equal to, instead of writing the number of terms like this, simply you put sigma m r square. Sigma m r square. We can write sigma m r square. Suppose if it is a body having continuous mass distribution, then this can also be written as integral m r square. Integral m r square. We can write like this also. Integral means nothing but summation only. Okay, we can write like this also. We apply this form integration method to find the moment of inertia of the different regular bodies like circular ring, disc, solid sphere, hollow sphere, like that. For different bodies, we use this formula. This is very, very important one. Okay. So in this formula, if masses of all the particles are same and equal to say m, mass of all the particles are same. Suppose in this rigid body there are n particles, mn and so on. Mn is equal to say m. In this way, n particles are there. What is the moment of inertia of the entire rigid body or entire system consists of n particles about this given axis. So I is equal to m into r1 square plus m into r2 square plus and so on. As n terms are there, m into rn square. Okay, you take m common, r1 square plus r2 square plus and so on plus rn square. It is the moment of inertia of the entire system about this axis, provided the mass of each and every particle remains same. Okay, now this is equal to, you multiply with the n and divide with the n, because there are n particles. No, you multiply with the n and divide with the n, then r1 square plus r2 square plus and so on plus rn square whole by n we can write, because n cancel, again you will get the same formula. No, so this can be written like this. What is n into m? What is n into m? M is the mass of one particle in the system. N into m means that is the total mass of the entire system. No, that is a capital M. Total mass of the entire system is a capital M into r1 square plus r2 square plus and so on plus rn square by n. What about this bracket term? What about this bracket term? It is the mean of the squares of perpendicular distances of all the particles from the axis of rotation. No, this is the r1 square means it is the square of the perpendicular distance of one particle plus r2 square plus r3 square and so on rn square by n means it is the mean of squares of perpendicular distances of all the particles from the axis of rotation. Okay, so this can be written as m into, suppose this bracket term you say k square, this bracket term is say k square, where k is called the radius of gyration. K is called radius of gyration, where k is called radius of gyration. Radius of gyration. Okay, this k value is equal to k square is equal to this bracket term, or k is equal to square root of r1 square plus r2 square plus and so on plus rn square whole by n. No, this is called the radius of gyration. It is called the radius of gyration. So how we can define the radius of gyration? Actually, what is the importance of radius of gyration means, here the effect, here different particles in the rigid body lies at different distances from the axis of rotation. Okay, the effective distance of all the particles near body from the axis of rotation is called the radius of gyration. Effective distance of all the particles in a body from the axis of rotation means that effective distance is equal to square root of mean of squares of the perpendicular distances of all the particles from the axis of rotation. That is called radius of gyration. So radius of gyration is the effective distance of all particles from axis of rotation. The effective distance of all the particles from the axis of rotation is called radius of gyration, which can be defined as square root of mean of squares of the perpendicular distances of all the particles from the axis of rotation, where m is the mass of the entire body or entire system, not mass of the particle, because n into m is taken as capital M, where nm is taken as capital M. M is the mass of each particle. Nm gives mass of all the particles in a system, which is represented as capital M. Okay. Okay, Karthik. Just now I said Karthik. What is capital M? I said just now. Okay, right. So here this radius of gyration term definition is also important. Okay, now I want to discuss some note points related to moment of inertia. Suppose one particle moving along the circular path with angular velocity omega, speed v. One particle having mass m moving with angular velocity omega along the circular path of radius r with angular velocity omega. At any instant of time, whenever the particle lies here, the speed of the particle is along, of course, the velocity of the particle is along tangential direction at this point. So this distance is the radius of the circular path is the perpendicular distance of that particle from the axis of rotation or from this center. Then what is the moment of inertia of the particle about the center? About center O. The moment of inertia I is equal to mass of the particle into square of the perpendicular distance of the particle from the axis of rotation, means r square, no? R square, no? Okay. Now, what about the angular momentum? What is the formula for angular momentum? It is the moment of inertia. Then what is the formula for angular momentum of the particle from the axis of rotation? Angular momentum of particle about O. Capital L is equal to, how we can write? Angular momentum of the particle. What is the formula for angular momentum? What is the formula for angular momentum? Moment of linear momentum is called angular momentum. Moment of linear momentum means momentum into perpendicular distance. Already, I think I said, moment of linear momentum means momentum mv into perpendicular distance. Perpendicular distance of direction of motion of the particle from the axis of rotation. That is equal to r only, no? That's why angular momentum is equal to momentum into perpendicular distance is r. But v is equal to, whenever the particle travel along the circular path, the speed of the particle is equal to, we can write r omega, no? Then here, instead of v, we can write r omega. That is equal to m into r omega into r. R, that is equal to mr square into omega. What is mr square? Mr square is moment of inertia. Okay, that's why that is equal to I into omega. Therefore, angular momentum L is equal to mr square omega, we can write, or I omega we can write. So L is equal to I omega. Here, whenever the axis of rotation is fixed, the moment of inertia does not alter. Then about O itself, because it is the moment of inertia about O, it is the angular momentum about O only. About O itself, that means about the center of the circular path only. What is the rate of change in the angular momentum of a particle? Suppose if the particle travel with increase in angular velocity with time, in that case, whenever angular velocity changes, definitely I does not change. When omega changes, then L also changes. So what is the rate of change in the angular momentum? That means dl by dt. What is the rate of change in the angular momentum? dl by dt is equal to how much? D by dt of L means I into omega. That is equal to d by d. I is constant, you write outside. I into d by dt of omega means d omega by dt. D omega by dt means angular acceleration, no? So I into alpha we can write, no? This is dl by dt. This is dl by dt. This is equation. Suppose this is equation 1. Okay, this is equal to mvr also we can write. This is equation 1. This is equation 2, you write. This is equation 3. So dl by dt means that is the rate of change in the angular momentum of a particle. dl by dt, rate of change in angular momentum. Rate of change in the angular momentum of a body, momentum about O, or about the center of the circular path. About the center of the circular path. Okay. So here you see from this formula, I alpha, no, dl from 3, dl by dt is equal to mr square into alpha. Alpha means we can write angular acceleration alpha. That can be written as, suppose if as the angular velocity changes with the time, then speed also changes, no? The speed v is equal to, we can write r omega. When angular velocity changes, speed also changes. When speed changes, here in this formula, instead of omega, in this formula, alpha can be written as, you see, angular acceleration alpha. How we can write angular acceleration? V is equal to r omega is there, where v is the speed of the particle along tangential direction. Now we differentiate this with respect to time. Then dv by dt is equal to d by dt of r omega. R is constant, you keep aside, d omega by dt. So that implies dv by dt means that is the rate of change in the speed of the particle along tangential direction. That's why it is called tangential acceleration, is equal to r into d omega by dt means angular acceleration alpha we can write now. Okay, so here you see d by sorry, here I here dl by dt is equal to I into alpha. I means mr square into alpha means we can write at by r no. At by r you write. At by r square cancel. Then dl by dt is equal to, you see all of you see this here, mr into mat into r. M80 into r. M80 means that is the AT is tangential acceleration. M means mass. Mass into tangential acceleration gives the force acts on the particle along tangential direction. No? Force acts on the particle along tangential direction. No? Then what is the torque acts on this particle about this point? Torque acts on the particle about this point is how much? Force into perpendicular distance. That means this force into perpendicular distance is the torque acts on the particle. No? F into r, because this F is along tangential direction. R is the perpendicular distance. That's why F into R is the torque acts on the particle about this point. No, that's why here M into AT means that is the F into R. F into R is the torque. That's why dl by dt is equal to torque only. No, that's why torque tau is equal to rate of change in the angular momentum of a particle. Torque acts on the particle is equal to rate of change in the angular momentum of a particle, which is equal to I alpha we can write, which is equal to I alpha. Okay, this formula is very, very important. Just like it is the Newton's second law in rotative motion. It is the Newton's second law in rotative motion. In translative motion, force F is equal to, in translative motion, force F is equal to rate of change in the linear momentum of a body. According to the Newton's second law, force acts on a body is equal to rate of change in the linear momentum of a body. In rotative motion, torque acts on a body is equal to rate of change in the angular momentum of a body. Both are similar, because in translative motion, linear momentum, in rotative motion, angular momentum, both are similar terms. Both are similar terms. That's why the torque acts on the body is equal to rate of change in the angular momentum of a body, which is equal to I into alpha. This formula is very, very important. This formula is very, very important. Okay. So here, already I said, I think, SI unit of the angular momentum I said. Am I said angular momentum unit? Angular momentum unit, I think I said in previous class only. You respond, anybody else respond? Am I said unit of angular momentum, dimension formula of angular momentum? I think I said, because angular momentum and Planck's constant, both are having same dimension formula. Angular momentum and Planck's constant, these are having same dimension formula. Name any two physical quantities having same angular momentum means we can say the angular momentum and Planck's constant, just like kinetic energy, potential energy, kinetic energy, work done. These are the pairs of quantities having same dimension formula. Yeah. Here, in which case we use it means definitely I will say applications. In applications where we can use these formulas, I can explain. I will explain where this formula can be used. When I start to explain the applications, in that we can use these formulas. So why we have to explain, in that case, you know, okay? With examples, I will explain. Okay, Sahit, right? Here, what is the relation between, this formula is also very, very important. This formula is very, very important. This formula is very, very important. This formula is also very, very, very important. This formula. These all are very, very important formulas. These three formulas, of course, you know, tangential acceleration is equal to R into angular acceleration. Of course, we know this formula. This formula is also very, very important. In previous, in this week, while doing the problems, all these formulas are very, very, very important. Okay. Now, so this node point gives the relation between torque and moment of inertia, torque and angular acceleration. The rate of change in the angular momentum of a body is equal to torque. The rate of change in the linear momentum of a body is equal to force acts on a body. F is equal to dp by dt. Now, rate of change in the linear momentum of a body, dp by dt is equal to force acts on a body. Here, rate of change in the angular momentum of a body is equal to torque. Okay, now some examples I want to discuss. Some examples. Example 1. Or you take note point 2. Already 1 I discussed. Note point 2 you can take. Note 2. Okay, suppose there are 3 particles at the corners of the equilateral triangle. At the corners of the equilateral triangle, 3 particles are there. 3 particles are there having masses m1, m2, m3. Okay, side is A. Of course, as it is the equilateral triangle, all sides are equal. Now, about an axis passing through the particle m2 perpendicular to this plane of the triangle. What is the moment of inertia? About this point, or first of all, we discuss about this axis. About this axis, what is the moment of inertia of the particle? It is the angular bisector. That's why it is a by 2. This is a by 2. Of course, in the diagram it is not like that, but both are same. Okay. About this axis, what is the moment of inertia of the system of these 3 particles here? In a system, there are 3 particles which are arranged at different positions like this. Then what is the moment of inertia of this system of 3 particles about this axis? This is the particle. Particle means their dimensions are negligible. Particle means the size of the particle is negligible. In such cases only, we can call them as particle. Otherwise, the body, we can call them as body. Okay. Here, there are 3 particles having masses m1, m2, m3. These are arranged at the corners of the equilateral triangle of side A. Then, about an axis passing through one of the particles and centroid of the triangle. It is the centroid of the triangle. No? About this axis, what is the moment of inertia I? So, moment of inertia of that system about this axis is equal to sum of the moments of inertia of each and every particle in the system. We have to write. Sum of the moments of inertia of each and every particle means moment of inertia of this particle is m1 into, as it is a particle, perpendicular distance of this particle from the axis of rotation is 0, because this particle lies on the axis of rotation only. It has negligible dimension. That's why 0 square means 0, plus m2 into perpendicular distance of this particle from the axis of rotation is a by 2. So a by 2 whole square. That means, of course, a by 2 whole square plus moment of inertia of this particle about this axis is mass m3 into a by 2 whole square. Therefore, moment of inertia of entire system about this axis is equal to m2 a square by 4 plus m3 a square by 4. You take a square by 4 common, then m2 plus m3. It is the moment of inertia of the system of 3 particles. Okay, now another example 3, another note point 3. Suppose same. Actually, this frame is it is not made with any material. Just I represented the equilateral triangle corners. Here there is an equilateral triangle. At the 3 corners, 3 identical particles are kept, having masses each m. Side of the triangle is A. Then about an axis, it is the point A, it is point B, it is point C. About an axis passing through A, passing through point A, perpendicular to plane of the triangle. Perpendicular to plane of the triangle. Moment of inertia of system of 3 particles is I is equal to, okay, about an axis passing through A or passing through one of the corners and perpendicular to the plane of the triangle. This is the plane of the triangle lies within the plane of the board. Perpendicular to plane of the triangle or plane of the board, passing through this point A. What is the moment of inertia? No doubt this particle is having no moment of inertia because mass into distance square means 0 only, plus moment of inertia of this particle about this axis means mass into perpendicular distance is equal to a only, so a square, plus moment of inertia of this particle m into perpendicular distance square means a square. Therefore, moment of inertia of the system of three particles about an axis passing through point A or passing through one of the corners and perpendicular to the plane of the triangle is equal to 2ma square, we can write. That is equal to, what is the radius of gyration of this system of three particles about this axis, they may ask. Radius of gyration they may ask. Already previously we discussed now I is equal to mk square. In case of any system, you find the moment of inertia of the system about the axis and you make them equal to mass of the entire system into radius of gyration square. How it is 0? Here about this axis moment of inertia of this particle means mass of this particle into, is there any perpendicular distance of the particle from this axis? Is there any perpendicular distance of this particle from the axis? Satvik? No, 0. That's why 0 I wrote, 0 square. Okay, mass into the perpendicular distance square means 0 square, 0. Suppose if about the same axis, what is the moment of inertia of the system of three particles, they may ask. Then about this point you find the moment of inertia of the entire system and make them equal to mass of the system into radius of gyration square, where m is the mass of the entire system, k is the radius of gyration of the system about this axis. Because radius of gyration is nothing but effective distance, means nothing but length. That's why what is the SI unit of the radius of gyration means meter. CSI unit is centimeter. Okay. So here m is the mass of the entire system. This is equal to 2ma square is equal to, what is the mass of the entire system? Mass of the entire system means there are three identical particles each of mass m. That's why total mass is equal to 3 into m now. So instead of capital M, you write 3 into m into radius of gyration square. Here mm cancel. Okay, therefore radius of gyration k is equal to root 2a by 3. No, root 2 by 3 into a you will get. So radius of gyration about the same axis, radius of gyration about the same axis is equal to root 2 by 3a. In this case, what is the radius of gyration about this axis means that is equal to total mass of the system into radius of gyration square. Total mass 3m into k square. K is equal to, you find, that is the answer. So in this way, about any axis, if they ask the radius of gyration about that axis, you find the moment of inertia first of the system. You make them equal to mass of the system into radius of gyration square. Then you find radius of gyration k. That is the radius of gyration of the system about that axis you will get. Okay. We cannot here draw axis. Draw axis means here you see we cannot draw axis. This is the axis. You don't feel that this is axis passing through. It is angular bisector. Actually, it is the axis perpendicular to plane of the disc, perpendicular to the plane of the triangle, and passing through this point. Already I explained. Here, this is the axis. Here, this is the axis passing through one of the corners and perpendicular to plane of the triangle, means this is the axis. That means this axis is outwards. This axis perpendicular to plane of the diagram and outwards. This is the axis. Okay, about this axis, what is the moment of inertia? Okay, right. Next, we will discuss some more examples like this. Fourth one, suppose in a square frame, light square frame, that means the frame has no mass, only we are concentrating the particles. Here there is a square frame at the of side A. There are four particles, identical particles kept at the four corners of the square frame of side A. About an axis passing through one of these sides, that means this is the axis passing through one of these sides. What is the moment of inertia? So moment of inertia I is equal to, as four particles are there, then moment of inertia of all the particles about this axis is equal to m1 r1 square plus m2 r2 square plus m3 r3 square plus m4 r4 square we have tried m1 r1 square plus m2 r2 square plus m3 r3 square plus m4 r4 square. It is general formula I am writing. I have written. Okay, this is m1, this is say m2, this is say m3, this is say m4. Okay, then now about this axis they asked the moment of inertia. About this axis, mass of the particle m into perpendicular distance means as it is the particle, perpendicular distance of the particle from the axis is 0. That's why 0 square plus mass of this particle m into perpendicular distance of the particle from this axis means that is also 0 square plus third one mass of the particle m into perpendicular distance is equal to side only, no, because this is side A. As it is a square of side A, this perpendicular distance from the axis is equal to A itself. That's why m into A square. For fourth particle also about the same axis, mass into distance square means m into A square. Therefore, 2ma square. It is the moment of inertia of the four particles about this axis. Okay, what is the radius of gyration of this system of four particles about this axis? You make them equal to m into k square. Okay, that implies 2ma square is equal to, where m is the mass of the entire system. Mass of the entire system is as four particles are there of equal mass, 4 into m is the total mass into radius of gyration square. So here 2m 2s are. Therefore, k square is equal to 2a square, or k is equal to root 2 into a, you will get. So this is the radius of gyration of the system of four particles about this axis. In this way, we have to do. Yeah. A by root 2 or sorry, a by root 2. Right. A by root 2. So k square is equal to a square by 2, or a by root 2 you will get. Very good. A by root 2. Okay, now in case of some extended objects like rod, disc, etc., how we can find the moment of inertia? Before going to discuss about that cases, different cases, we have to know parallel axis theorem and perpendicular axis theorem. First of all, parallel axis theorem and perpendicular axis theorem. Parallel axis theorem. In order to find the moment of inertia in a simpler manner, we are having two theorems: parallel axis theorem and perpendicular axis theorem. So what is the parallel axis theorem? In order to find the moment of inertia of different objects in a simpler manner about any axis, we are having two theorems. With the help of the two theorems, we can find the moment of inertia of any body in a simple manner. Okay, that's why definitely it is our responsibility to know this parallel axis theorem and perpendicular axis theorem to have the to do the problems in a simpler manner. So what is parallel axis theorem? Suppose there is a rigid body. Suppose there is a rigid body having mass capital M. There is a rigid body having mass capital M. Okay, suppose the center of mass of the body lies here. Center of mass or center of gravity of the body lies here. G is the center of mass or center of gravity, lies at this point. Okay. About given axis, about this axis, what is the formula for moment of inertia? That is the question. Here about this axis, the body is made to rotate. ఈ యాక్సిస్ పరంగా ఈ బాడీని రొటేట్ అయ్యేట్టుగా అరేంజ్ చేశారు. కాబట్టి అబౌట్ దిస్ యాక్సిస్, వాట్ ఇస్ ద మూమెంట్ ఆఫ్ ఇనర్షియా ఆఫ్ దిస్ బాడీ, రిజిడ్ బాడీ. ఇట్ ఈస్ ద రిజిడ్ బాడీ composed of so many number of particles. So about this axis, what is the moment of inertia of the rigid body? That is the question they asked. So in order to find the moment of inertia of this rigid body about this axis, okay, you consider a parallel axis which is parallel to this given axis and passing through center of gravity or center of mass. This is the axis passing through center of mass or center of gravity, but parallel to the given axis. Okay, the perpendicular distance of this axis from the given the perpendicular distance of the axis passing through center of mass and parallel to given axis, that is, say this is equal to, say, small r. So small r is the perpendicular distance between two parallel axes. Okay, now moment of inertia of this rigid body about the given axis is capital I. Moment of inertia of the given rigid body about parallel axis, about an axis passing through center of mass or center of gravity parallel to given axis, that is say Iz. Then according to the statement of this parallel axis theorem, I is equal to Iz plus m into r square. This is the formula for parallel axis theorem. Just if you read this formula with a sentence, then that gives the statement of the parallel axis theorem. How you can read this equation with sentence? That is the statement of the parallel axis theorem. You see, I will read moment of inertia of the, you see, I is the moment of inertia of the rigid body about the given axis, which is equal to moment of inertia of the same rigid body about an axis passing through center of mass and parallel to the given axis, and plus, that means and sum of moment of inertia of the rigid body about an axis passing through center of mass and parallel to given axis, and product of mass of the body and square of the perpendicular distance between two parallel axes. This is the statement of the parallel axis theorem. So in order to write the statement of the parallel axis theorem, simply we have to read this, we have to write this mathematical equation in sentence that gives the statement of the parallel axis theorem. So moment of inertia of the rigid body about the given axis is equal to sum of the moment of inertia of the body about an axis passing through center of mass and parallel to given axis, and product of mass of the body and square of the perpendicular distance between the two parallel axes. That is the statement of the parallel axis theorem. Now we have to prove this formula. We have to prove this formula. Okay, proof. Suppose as it is the rigid body, it is composed of so many number of particles. You imagine one particle having mass dm at this point. You consider one particle in the rigid body at this point, which is at a distance, say small x from the given axis. Then moment of inertia of the particle, this particle considered about the given axis is equal to, as this particle considered here is particle at p we considered, so moment of inertia of this particle considered whose mass is dm, the moment of inertia of this particle about this axis is equal to, how we can write moment of inertia of this particle about this, Iz means already I said, no, number of times I said the definition, Sriram. Number of times I said this, 3-4 times I explained the statement. Okay, while explaining again, you will get the same. You listen carefully. Right. Here, as the rigid body composed of so many number of particles, you consider one particle. You imagine one particle here having mass say dm. As particle means it is having negligible mass. That's why that mass is say dm. It is at a perpendicular distance x from this given axis. Then what is the moment of inertia of this particle about the given axis? Tell me. Dm into x square. Okay, very good. Mass of the particle dm into distance square means perpendicular distance square means x square. It is a moment of inertia of this particle. Moment of inertia of this particle about this axis. Okay. Now this is equal to, therefore this is the moment of inertia of the one particle about this axis. Therefore moment of inertia of the entire rigid body about this axis means, in this way, for each and every particle you find the moments of inertia and you add them. That gives the moment of inertia of the entire body. Instead of doing so, the moment of inertia of the entire rigid body about this axis is equal to sigma di. Sigma di means moment of inertia of one particle is this one. Sigma means moment of inertia, sum of the moments of inertia of all the particles about this axis. We can write like this also. This is equal to di means mass into distance square. Okay, here this is equal to, what is the distance of this particle from the axis parallel to given axis and passing through center of mass? This is equal to r minus x, we can write now. R minus x we can write. So here sigma dm into, no, you take this distance as, you see, you take this distance of this particle from the axis parallel to given axis and passing through center of mass, that as x. Okay, now this distance can be written as Okay, for mathematical convenient only, I have written like this. Here, this distance is equal to r minus x, no? So moment of inertia of this particle about this axis is equal to dm into r minus x whole square. Okay, then dm into r minus x whole square. Here also r minus x whole square. Whole square means you expand them. A minus b whole square, you expand them. For mathematical convenient only, I have written like this. So this is equal to sigma dm into a minus b whole square, a square plus b square minus 2r into x. You split them. Sigma dm into r square plus sigma dm into x square minus sigma dm into 2rx. We can write like this. Okay, here when you consider the number, here dm means mass of the one particle, r is the perpendicular distance between the two parallel axes. Suppose if you consider any particle here, here, etc., is there any change in the perpendicular distance between the two parallel axes? No, that means r is constant. You write r square outside the sigma, so r square into sigma dm plus what about dm, mass of the particle. What about x square, perpendicular square of the perpendicular distance of the particle from the parallel axis passing through center of mass. What this dm into x square gives, tell me? What is dm into x square gives? Mass of the particle into square of the perpendicular distance of the particle from this axis parallel to given axis passing through center of mass. So dm into x square gives what? Moment of inertia of the particle about an axis passing through center of mass or center of gravity parallel to given axis. Okay, sigma into dmx square means that is the moment of inertia of the entire rigid body about an axis passing through center parallel to given axis and passing through center of mass. You keep like this, sigma dm into x square. You keep like this only. Later we can write minus. Here what about this? 2r is constant, you write outside. 2r into sigma dm into x. Sigma dm into x. Okay, here I is equal to r square into r square is constant only, right? Dm is the mass of one particle. Sigma dm means the sum of masses of all the particles in a rigid body. That gives mass of the entire rigid body, no? Sigma dm ante mass of the one particle. Sigma dm ante ఈ సిస్టమ్ లోపల లేదా ఈ రిజిడ్ బాడీ లోపల ఎన్ని పార్టికల్స్ అయితే ఉన్నాయో అన్ని పార్టికల్స్ యొక్క టోటల్ మాస్ అని అర్థం. That sigma dm gives mass of the entire body, no? That's why you write capital M. Plus dm into x square is the moment of inertia of the particle about parallel axis passing through center of mass. Sigma dm x square means moment of inertia of the all particles in a system about parallel axis passing through center of mass, about axis parallel to the given axis and passing through center of mass. That is represented as Iz, no? Iz is the moment of inertia of the entire rigid body about an axis parallel to given axis and passing through center of mass. That is equal to Iz. That's why instead of this one we can write Iz. Definitely you see I is equal to Iz plus mr square we got. Definitely this must become 0. Then only you'll get answer. So how it becomes 0 I will explain. So minus 2r into sigma dm into x. Okay, I will explain here. You see here there is a rigid body. About this axis moment of inertia is to be determined. Here parallel axis passing through center of mass is this one, G. Okay, now when you consider here dm is here, I consider the dm here. This is perpendicular distance x. Okay, now the weight of this particle, mass of this particle is m dm. Weight of the particle is dm into z, no? Weight of the particle dm into z, no? Here about this axis or about this point, about this center of mass or center of gravity, the weight of this particle try to move the particle in this direction, in clockwise direction. So this weight to dmz into x, dmz into x, that is the torque acts on the particle due to gravity about this point passing through center of mass. Am I right? Weight of the particle dm into z, ఆ వెయిట్ ఆఫ్ ది పార్టికల్ అబౌట్ దిస్ పాయింట్, ఈ పార్టికల్ ఇటువైపు టర్న్ చేయడానికి ట్రై చేస్తుంది, అంటే యాంటీ క్లాక్ వైజ్ డైరెక్షన్ లో. అట్లాగే ఆల్ ది పార్టికల్స్ ప్రెజెంట్ ఆన్ రైట్ సైడ్ ఆఫ్ ది యాక్సిస్ పాసింగ్ త్రూ సెంటర్ ఆఫ్ మాస్ ఆర్ సెంటర్ ఆఫ్ గ్రావిటీ, బికాస్ ఆఫ్ వెయిట్స్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్ ది పార్టికల్స్ ఆన్ లెఫ్ట్ సైడ్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ యాక్సిస్ try to rotate the entire body in anti-clockwise direction. Okay, so sigma, you write sigma. sigma dm into g into x is the moment of inertia of the all the particles on the body in the body on right side of this axis passing through center of mass and parallel to given axis. Try to rotate in clockwise direction. The remaining particles on right hand side, the torque due to weight of all the particles about this axis, try to rotate the body in clockwise direction. But about an axis passing through center of mass or center of gravity, the body cannot rotate. Suppose you say center of mass or center of gravity lies here. Through that point, through that center of mass or center of gravity, when you pass here, when you keep a nail here, then this body cannot turn in this direction or in this direction. That means moment of weights or torque due to weight of all the particles about an axis passing through center of mass becomes 0. That's why sigma dmg into x is equal to 0, or as the g is constant, sigma dm into x is equal to 0 since g is constant. Okay, that's why this sigma dx can be made 0. Therefore, that here it is called mass into perpendicular, here weight into perpendicular distance is called moment of weight or torque. Mass into perpendicular distance is called moment of mass. Moment of mass of the particle. Sigma dm into x means the algebraic sum of moments of mass of all the particles about an axis passing through center of mass, that is equal to 0. Since algebraic sum of moments of all particles about an axis passing through center of mass is 0. This is very important point. The algebra sum of moments of masses or moments of weights of all the particles about an axis passing through center of mass is 0. Based on that concept, we can write sigma dm into x equal to 0 according to this condition. Now we make them 0. Then remaining is, tell me, what is the remaining? Therefore, I is equal to, you see, I is equal to Iz plus mr square. Iz plus m into r square. Now we proved, hence proved. I is equal to Iz plus mr square only we got, no? Hence proved. This is the parallaxis theorem. Hence proved. So in this way, we can prove the parallax theorem in simple method. Okay. No, you need not to learn proofs. Okay. Revan, ఈ ప్రూఫ్స్ మీరు డిరైవ్ చేయాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు. అయితే నేను సపోజ్ డైరెక్ట్ గా ఫార్ములా రాసాను అనుకోండి, అది ఎట్లా వచ్చింది అని ఫీలింగ్ లోపల ఉంటుంది. అందుకని ఐ ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ ఇన్ డీటెయిల్. బట్ ఇన్ ప్రీవియస్ వీక్స్ వీఆర్ హ్యావింగ్ in last year we are having this also in syllabus in IPE intermediate exam లో ఇది కూడా ఉంది. కానీ ఈ వీక్ లాక్డౌన్ సందర్భంగా కొన్ని పాయింట్స్, కొన్ని టాపిక్స్ డిలీట్ చేశారు. దాంట్లో ఐ థింక్ దిస్ ఈజ్ ఆల్సో దేర్. ఓకే, దిస్ ఈజ్ ఆల్సో దేర్. That's why I think this is not the syllabus. Derivation is not in our syllabus in this week, in this academic year only. Okay, so just you have to remember this formula. And what is the Iz, what is the R, we have to remember those points definitely. Okay, yeah, by integration also we can find. Okay, next class, in next topics we are having integration method. We will use that integration method also. Next, here algebraic sum of moments of all the moment of masses of all particles about axis passing through center of mass is 0, or moments of weights of all the particles about an axis passing through center of mass is 0. Based on that condition, we can write sigma dm into x is equal to 0. You put sigma dm into x 0, then of course something into 0 is 0. So I is equal to Iz plus mr square. Hence proved. It is the parallaxis theorem. Similarly, perpendicular axis theorem is also there. Perpendicular axis theorem. suppose in this case only, in this parallel axis theorem only, about this given axis moment of inertia I, parallel to given axis passing through center of mass, the axis is this one. About this axis moment of inertia is Iz. Mass of this body is m, and perpendicular distance between two parallel axes are. Then I is equal to Iz plus m into r square we got, no? Now, suppose if the radius of gyration of this entire system about the given axis is say k, and radius of gyration of the entire system about an axis parallel to given axis passing through center of mass is say kg, then how we can write this I? If radius of gyration of this entire rigid body about this axis given axis is k, then how we can write this I? How we can write I value? Tell me. In terms of k, how we can write I? I means moment of inertia. How we can write? mk square, no? mk square, yeah, mk square. So m into k square is equal to, how we can write Iz value? In terms of radius of gyration of this body about axis parallel axis passing through center of mass, then what is, how we can write Iz? m into kg square, no? m into kg square plus m into r square. So m can be cancelled, then k square is equal to kg square plus r square. Sometimes you will be given perpendicular distance between two parallel axes and the radius of gyration of the rigid body about an axis parallel to given axis passing through center of mass, means kg is given. What is the radius of gyration of the same rigid body about given axis? K may they ask. So by using this formula we can find. By using this formula we can find. Okay. Now perpendicular axis theorem. Perpendicular axis theorem. Plural, perpendicular axis, parallel axis theorem, because more than one axis is there, that's why axis theorem. Perpendicular axis theorem. Suppose if the rigid body is available in the form of a plain sheet or planar like book, okay, if the given rigid body is available in the form of a plain sheet, or if any body is having plain surface, in such case, suppose we are having a plain sheet like this. We are having a plain sheet like this. Okay, here this is x-axis, this is y-axis, this is x-axis, this is y-axis. This x-axis and y-axis both lies in the plane of the lamina. It is the plane lamina. Plane lamina means plane sheet. Plane lamina of mass capital. Okay, here this x and y axis lies within the plane of the lamina. And the plane lamina lo unna axis ivi. And the plane lamina lies in xy plane. Perpendicular to this xy plane, suppose here it is the z axis. It is the z axis. Then if the moment of inertia of the plane lamina about x-axis is say Ix, moment of inertia of the plane lamina about this perpendicular axis lies within the plane of the lamina, perpendicular to x-axis, that is say y. The moment of inertia of this plane lamina about this y-axis is Iy. Then moment of inertia of the plane lamina about a perpendicular axis passing through intersection of the two perpendicular axes lies within the plane of the lamina is Iz. Then Iz is equal to Ix plus Iy. This is the mathematical statement of the perpendicular axis theorem. Here Ix, Iy are the moments of inertia of the plane lamina about two perpendicular axes lies within the plane of the lamina. అంటే ఈ బాడీ యొక్క ప్లేన్ లో ఉండే రెండు పర్పెండిక్యులర్ యాక్సిస్ ఇవి. ఆ రెండు యాక్సిస్ పరంగా మొమెంట్స్ ఆఫ్ ఇనర్షియా Ix, Iy అయితే ఈ రెండు పర్పెండిక్యులర్ యాక్సిస్ యొక్క ఇంటర్సెక్టింగ్ పాయింట్ గుండా పాస్ అవుతూ ప్లేన్ లామినాకి పర్పెండిక్యులర్ గుండా యాక్సిస్ పరంగా మొమెంట్ ఆఫ్ ఇనర్షియా Iz. Iz is equal to Ix plus Iy. So moment of inertia of the plane lamina about an axis passing through intersection of the two perpendicular axes lies within the plane of the lamina perpendicular to the given plane is equal to sum of the moments of inertia of the same plane lamina about two perpendicular axes lies within the plane of the lamina. This is the statement of the perpendicular axis theorem. Okay, now how we can prove? Suppose here you imagine one particle have at a point P whose mass is dm. This particle is this particle whose coordinates are x comma y, because this part as the plane lamina lies within the xy plane, this particle is having only x and y coordinates. Z coordinate is 0. This particle is at a perpendicular distance smaller from the z axis. Okay, now what is the moment of inertia of this particle about the z axis? Moment of inertia of that particle about z axis, proof. Moment of inertia of the particle about the z-axis diz is equal to mass of the particle dm into perpendicular distance of the particle from the z-axis, means r, so r square. This is the moment of inertia of the particle about the z-axis. So therefore moment of inertia of the particle, moment of inertia of the plane lamina about z-axis, total moment of inertia of the plane lamina about z-axis is equal to, for one particle you find the moment of inertia about z-axis, then you write sigma dm into r square. That is the moment of inertia of all the particles about z-axis. Their sum that gives the moment of inertia of the entire plane lamina about z-axis, which is equal to sigma dm into, what about r? You see here, as the x and y coordinates are xy coordinates of this particle considered here is r, x and y. Perpendicular distance is r. What is the meaning of these coordinates? X coordinate is x, means this particle is at a perpendicular distance x from the origin, no, along x axis, no. So from this point you draw a perpendicular line parallel to y axis, then this distance is equal to x. From this point you draw a perpendicular line onto y axis, this distance is equal to y. This distance is equal to y. Okay, now you see here r square means it is x and it is y, no. Then r square means x square plus y square we can write, no. R square can be written as x square plus y square or y square plus x square. Okay, therefore iz is equal to, you split them, sigma dm into x square plus sigma dm into y square. I split it, sigma dm into x square plus sigma dm into y square. So that is called sigma dm into y square plus sigma dm into x square. This is moment of inertia of the plane lamina about z-axis perpendicular to plane of the lamina, passing through intersection of two perpendicular axes lies within the plane of the lamina. What is dm into y square? Tell me from the diagram. What is dm into y square? What is dm into y square? You tell me. You respond. What is dm into y square? Dm into y square means this one. Y means this one. Dm into y means that is the perpendicular distance of the, no, you see, dm into y square means that is the square of the perpendicular distance of this particle from the x-axis. That's why dm into y square is the moment of inertia of this particle about the x-axis. Sigma dm into y square means that is the moment of inertia of this entire plane lamina about x-axis. That can be represented as ix. మనకి moment of inertia అంటే ఫార్ములా ఏంటంటే అసలు mass of the particle into square of the perpendicular distance of the particle from the axis, అంతే కదా. mass dm into perpendicular square of the perpendicular distance of the particle from the x axis అంటే perpendicular distance y కదా x axis నుంచి, కాబట్టి dm into y square is the moment of inertia of the particle about x axis. Sigma dm y square means moment of inertia of the entire plane lamina about x axis plus dm sigma dm into x square means we can write iy. So hence proved. So this is the perpendicular axis theorem. About x-axis, suppose the radius of gyration of the plane lamina is kx, about y-axis ky, about z-axis kz. Then this can be written as kz square plus kz square is equal to mkz square is equal to mkx square plus m into ky square. M you cancel, then kz square is equal to kx square plus ky square. This is the formula for moment of inertia when plane of the lamina lies in xy plane. If the plane of the lamina lies in xy plane, in that case formula is there, this one. If plane of lamina lies in xy plane, then about z-axis moment of inertia is equal to ix plus iy. Of course, that can be written like this. In terms of radius of gyration, we can write, if plane of the lamina plane lies in yz plane. If plane lies in yz plane, tell me, if plane of the lamina lies in yz plane, if the plane of the lamina lies about x-axis moment of inertia, about perpendicular axis moment of inertia ix is equal to, we can write iy plus iz. If the plane of the lamina lies in xz plane, if plane lies in xz plane, then moment of inertia about y-axis, which is perpendicular to the plane of the lamina, passing through intersecting point of x and z, then iy is equal to, we can write ix plus iz. In this way, we can write, it is the perpendicular axis theorem. Okay, now we have to discuss some more points. Okay, we will discuss some more points now. Okay, some note points. Note 1. Thin uniform rod. Thin uniform rod. Suppose there is a thin uniform rod in case of thin uniform rod about an axis passing through midpoint and perpendicular to its length. Passing through midpoint and perpendicular to the length. About this axis, what is the moment of inertia? Mass of the rod is of course m, length is L. There is a uniform rod of mass m, length L. What is the moment of inertia of this rod about an axis passing through midpoint and perpendicular to its length? Suppose this is a origin. Then in this side, the length of this end of the rod is equal to at x plus L by 2, and this end is at minus x is equal to minus L by 2. The rod is extended now. Suppose if you take this as the origin and this is the axis, okay, then the length of the rod is extended towards right up to distance L by 2, and on left side it is extended up to minus L by 2. Then the difference between these two positions is equal to length of the rod only, no? L by 2 minus half L by 2 minus L by 2 means plus L by 2. L by 2 plus L by 2 means L. In this way rod is there. So here it is the rod means it is not point mass, because the mass is extended up to certain length. That's why it is an extended object. It is an extended object. In case of extended object, how we can find the moment of inertia? Here also as usual, you consider the small element here having length dx, which is at a distance x from the center or from this axis. In this rod, you consider the one small element having length dx and mass dm at a distance x from this axis passing through midpoint and perpendicular to length of the rod. Then what is the moment of inertia? So here moment of inertia of this element means that is the point size particle only. But in order to see the diagram here, I drawn with more length. Actually, it is the point size particle only. Element means point size particle. Moment of inertia of this particle about this axis di is equal to mass of that element dm into perpendicular distance square x square. This is equal to mass of the element means mass per unit length is equal to m by L. Total mass of the rod is capital M, length is L. Then what is the mass per unit length means m by L. If m by L is the mass per unit length, for this much length of the element, what is the mass means into dx. It is the mass of the element into x square. This is the moment of inertia of the element about this axis. This type of elements can be imagined from x is equal to minus L by 2 to x is equal to plus L by 2. So you integrate this between the limits minus L by 2 to plus L by 2. That gives the moment of inertia of the all elements imagined from this position to this position about this axis. That is the moment of inertia of the entire rod. Therefore, total moment of inertia is equal to integral di between the limits x is equal to minus L by 2 to plus L by 2. That is equal to integral di means m by L into x square into dx. limits x is equal to minus L by 2 to plus L by 2. So I is equal to, tell me, m by L is constant, you write outside, m by L into integral x square dx means x square dx. Okay, now you apply the integration principle. How we can write? When you apply the integration principle, how we can write? So x is equal to minus L by 2 plus L by 2. Okay, so m by L into, here integral x square dx means x cube by 3. In limits x to x is equal to minus L by 2 to plus L by 2. You substitute the limits, m by L into, first upper limit you substitute, L by 2 whole cube by 3 minus x means minus L by 2 whole cube by 3. So this is equal to m by L into L cube by 8. That means L cube by 8 into 3 means L cube by 24 minus of minus L by 2 whole cube means minus L cube by 8. Minus means plus L cube by 8 by 3. That means L cube by 24. 2L cube by 24 means L cube by 12. So m by L into L cube by 12. Therefore, I is equal to L 1 L cancel. Then ml square by 12 no. This is the moment of inertia of the rod about an axis. Moment of inertia of the uniform rod, that is important. Moment of inertia of the uniform rod about an axis passing through midpoint perpendicular to length. Okay, suppose here, I think you can hear about an axis passing through midpoint and perpendicular to length. The moment of inertia is this one. Now, I think you can understand based on the diagram. Moment of inertia of the same uniform rod of mass m, length L about an axis passing through one end and perpendicular to length. About this axis, what is the moment of inertia? Okay, here just same method. Suppose if you imagine the element here, moment of inertia of this element about this axis is equal to same. We can write like this. This type of elements can imagine from x is equal to 0 to x is equal to L now. Between 0 to L you integrate, then you will get answer simply. That is one method. Okay, then you will get ml square by 3 if you do like that. Suppose if you want to do that problem by parallax theorem, by applying parallax theorem also we can get. Suppose here center of mass of this rod lies here now, exactly at the midpoint, as it is the uniform rod. Center of mass lies here, center of mass about an axis parallel to given axis. About this axis we have to find the moment of inertia. That is our aim. About an axis here parallel to the given axis passing through center of mass, the moment of inertia is say Iz. Perpendicular distance between two parallel axes r is equal to, it is L by 2 no, L by 2. Now according to parallel axis theorem, tell me moment of inertia of the rod about this given axis I is equal to moment of inertia of the same rod about an axis parallel to given axis passing through center of mass Iz plus moment mass m into perpendicular distance square means r square. It is according to parallax theorem. Now what about Iz? Iz means that is the moment of inertia of the given rod about an axis passing through midpoint perpendicular to its length means this only no, ml square by 12. You write ml square by 12 plus m into r square means perpendicular distance between two axes square means L by 2 whole square. So ml square by 12 plus m into L square by 4. When you take LCM, you will get 12 is LCM, ml square plus 3 ml square. That is equal to ml square by 3 no. Therefore, moment of inertia about an axis passing through one end perpendicular to length of the rod is equal to ml square by 3. That is the answer. Or if you do integration between the limits 0 to L also, you will get 0 to L, you will get the same formula. So by any method we can do. Okay. Next, suppose another one, same case, same rod, C, another case C. Suppose if the same rod is kept like this, the same uniform rod is like this, having mass m, length L. It is made to rotate about an axis passing through one end, makes an angle theta with axis. about this axis, what is the moment of inertia? The same rod, you see, the rod is like this with inclination. This rod is made to rotate like this. Okay, about this axis, what is the moment of inertia of the rod? For this, you imagine one small element. Here, this is a origin. You imagine small element here having length dl, having length dx. Say. This length is equal to say x. Or we can take this as r, dr. Dr is the length of the element. This element is at a distance r from the axis, from this end or from O. Okay. Now the perpendicular here actually moment of inertia of the element about this axis means mass of this element dm into perpendicular distance means this only, no, this is not the perpendicular distance. This is the perpendicular distance, that is say x. Moment of inertia of this element about this axis is equal to di is equal to mass of the element into perpendicular distance square. This is equal to mass of the element means mass of the entire rod is m, length is l, then mass per unit length is m by l into length of this element is dr. This is the mass of that element into x means here r we know, x is not given, but we imagine this x can be written as, you see, since sine theta is equal to x by r, we can write. Then x means r sine theta, square is there. That's why r sine theta whole square. Therefore, di is equal to m by l sine square theta into r square dr. This is the moment of inertia of the element about this axis. Whenever the rod is rotating, mass of the entire rod does not change, capital L does not change, theta does not change, because about this axis with the same angle only it rotates like this. That's why theta is also constant. Therefore, moment of inertia of the entire rod about that axis is equal to integral di. Here variable is r, theta, everything is constant, only variable is r. When you consider the different elements here, the distance of the element from this point changes. That's why r is only variable. Between which limits r value changes? So integral di is equal to integral m by l into sine square theta into r square dr. As r only variable, between which limits r value can be taken? R value varies from r is equal to 0 to r is equal to l. Here it is r is equal to l, here r is equal to 0. Because r is measured along the length of the rod. At this point r is equal to 0, at this point r is equal to l. Between r is equal to 0 to l, you integrate. That's all. You will get answer. So from this, so from this I is equal to m by l sine square theta is constant, integral r square dr, limits r is equal to 0 to l. So m sine square theta by l into r cube by 3, limits 0 to l. Therefore, m sine square theta by l into l cube by 3 you will get, one l cancel. Then I is equal to, you will get ml square by 3 into sine theta. This is the general formula for moment of inertia of the rod about an axis passing through one end and makes an angle theta with the axis. Okay. Suppose in previous case, here we have obtained in previous, we discussed the previous case now. When the rod is like this, about an axis passing through one end perpendicular to the length of the rod, what is the moment of inertia means? In that case, theta is called 90. You substitute theta is called 90, ml square by 3. We got the same now. It is the general expression for moment of inertia of the rod about this axis makes an angle theta with the rod. Okay. Next, suppose in the same case only, suppose if the rod is made to rotate like this. Here, this is the rod about an axis passing through midpoint and makes an angle theta with rod. What is the moment of inertia? This is equal to question mark. As it is the midpoint, suppose we consider one element here. The length of the element is dr, mass dm, which is, suppose this is say origin. So this element is at a distance smaller. Then here the moment of inertia of this element about this axis di is equal to mass of the element dm into perpendicular distance of this element from this axis, means this is the perpendicular distance, that is say x. Okay, so x square. So this is equal to dm into x square means r sin theta whole square we can write as previous case, r sin theta whole square. dm means mass per unit length m by l into, for this length dr, what is the mass means into dr into r square sin square theta. So here m by l into sin square theta is constant, keep aside, into r square into dr. This is the moment of inertia of this element. This type of elements can imagine from this end to this end. At this end, r value is, as r value is taken from the midpoint in this direction, this here in this direction, this r can be taken as minus L by 2, here plus L by 2, r is equal to. Between this minus L by 2 to plus L by 2, integrate, then you'll get answer. Total moment of inertia is equal to integral di between the limits r is equal to minus L by 2 to plus L by 2. After integration, you will get ml square by 12 into sin square theta. Once it was given in advance. Once it was, I think, given in advance. Okay. What is the moment of inertia about this axis by making 30-degree angle with rod? What is the moment of inertia? Passing through midpoint means here we have to use 30-degree. That's all. This is very, very important. Okay. It is the general, these are the general formulas for moment of inertia. Square is there, no? Square is not there. Square is there, no? Here, okay, right. Very good. So ml square by 3 into sin square theta. Okay, Nana, very good. Square is there. Right. These are the formulas. Next, in case of this rod, it is over. For different cases, shall I make a video and keep in WhatsApp group? In this way, for different cases, we have to discuss the moment of inertia. Instead of wasting our time to derive all these formulas, I will make a video and I will keep in WhatsApp group. So that if I make a video, then you go through them. Otherwise, tomorrow I will explain. If I keep the video in WhatsApp group, you must watch them so that we can save the time. Tomorrow we can start the problems. Okay, right. Otherwise, there is no use. Okay, today, if possible, I will make a video, because every day I am having classes even during afternoon session also. That's why I am very busy evening. If possible, definitely I will make a video and I will keep in WhatsApp group. By that study hour will be started at that time. Okay. If I keep in WhatsApp group, you go through that video so that you can understand the derivations for everyone, for hollow sphere, semi-solid sphere, cone, etc. For different cases, ring, uniform ring, for different cases we can understand. Okay. Okay, last, can you spend 5 minutes? Can you spend 5 minutes? Can you spend 5 minutes? I will explain one more example. Okay. Uniform ring, we will discuss. Second one. Second one, uniform ring. Suppose in this first one, suppose there is a uniform ring, thin uniform ring of radius r, mass caplum. Radius, of course, you write caplar. About an axis passing through center of the ring and perpendicular to the plane of the ring. What is the moment of inertia? Okay, you see here, suppose if you consider the small element on the ring having length of the element, say dr. The moment of inertia of this element about this axis, di, say di is equal to mass of the element dm into perpendicular distance square means radius square only, no? This is the moment of inertia of the one element about this axis. So total moment of inertia of the entire ring about this axis, I is equal to integral di. That is equal to integral di means dm into r square. That is equal to integral dm means mass of the element. Here the total mass of the ring is caplum, radius caplar. That's why length of the ring is equal to 2 pi r, no, circumference. So for 2 pi r length, if the mass is caplum, then what is the mass per unit length? Means m by 2 pi r. For unit length, if it is the mass, for this much length dr, what is the mass? Means into dr. It is the mass of the element considered into distance square means dr, r square. Okay. This is equal to, you see, in all in these terms, m 2 pi r capital R constant. So r square cancel. So m into m by 2 pi into capital R into integral dr. Into integral dr. Here, this type of elements can be imagined from r is equal to 0 to r is equal to 2 pi r, because this length dr is the along circumference of the ring. So this type of elements can be imagined from this point to up to length equal to 2 pi r. No, that's why r is equal to 0 to r is equal to 2 pi r. We can write 2 pi capital R. Circumference is 2 pi capital R. No, therefore I is equal to m r by 2 pi into integral. Integral dr means simply r, limits 0 to 2 pi capital R. Therefore m r square by 2 pi into here 2 pi capital R. So 2 cancel, pi cancel. So it is not mr square, I think mr only. This is mr. So therefore I is equal to m into r square. It is the moment of inertia of the ring about an axis passing through center and perpendicular to this plane of the ring. It is called natural axis. The axis passing through center and perpendicular to the plane of the ring, that is called natural axis. About natural axis, moment of inertia, this one. Now, about an axis passing through, in case of a ring, uniform ring, about an axis passing through one edge and perpendicular to the plane of the ring. About this axis, what is the moment of inertia? Okay, here parallel to given axis passing through center of mass of the ring lies at the center only. No, parallel to given axis passing through center of mass, the moment of inertia is say Iz. The distance between two parallel axes is equal to radius of the ring only. Mass is capital M. Then according to parallel axis theorem, moment of inertia about this axis I is equal to Iz plus m into r square, general formula. So that is equal to, Iz means moment of inertia of the ring about an axis parallel to given axis passing through center of mass, means already we have mr square. So m into r square plus m into square of the perpendicular distance between the two parallel axes, means capital R only, capital R square. So 2mr square. No, so about this axis moment of inertia of the ring is equal to 2mr square. 2mr square. Okay, next, last one, last point in this same only, last point, last case in this, I will conclude the class. So see, same ring having mass m, radius capital R. What is the moment of inertia about an axis passing through one edge, passing through about tangential axis lies within the plane of the ring? What is the moment of inertia? This is the tangential axis because it is just along the tangent to this ring, but lies within the plane of the ring. Here also it is also tangential axis only, but perpendicular to plane of the ring. Here it is the tangential axis lies within the plane of the ring. What is the moment of inertia? Okay, for that, first of all, I forgot to explain this one. You forget this axis now. First, about the diametric axis, we have to find the moment of inertia. About the diametric axis, you see, about this axis, moment of inertia we have to find. About this axis, what is the moment of inertia? First, we have to find. Okay, so here you see, I will draw the same diagram like this. I will draw the same diagram. You see, about this axis, moment of inertia they asked. It is the diametric axis, no? Diametric axis means we can take this axis as the diameter, no? This is a line passing through center of the ring, lies within the plane of the ring, means it is the diameter, no? This is a x-axis. This is also diameter. This is a y-axis. It is the z-axis. Okay. About this axis, moment of inertia Iz. About this axis, moment of inertia Iy. About this axis, say Ix. Then according to perpendicular axis theorem, how we can write the relation among them? About z-axis, moment of inertia of the ring about z-axis Iz is equal to sum of the moments of inertia of the same ring about two perpendicular axis lies within the plane of the ring. That means Ix plus Iy. According to perpendicular axis theorem. Okay, therefore Iz means moment of inertia of the ring about this axis is equal to, already we derived, mr square. That's why Iz is equal to mr square is equal to You see, about x-axis or about y-axis, moment of inertia is same now, because x-axis is the diametric axis, y-axis is also the diametric axis. That's why about this axis or about this axis, moment of inertia is same. That's why 2ix you write, since ix is equal to iy. Therefore, ix is equal to iy. That is equal to ix is equal to mr square by 2. No, mr square by 2. So this is the moment of inertia about any diametric axis. About the diametric axis, moment of inertia is, this is ix, that is equal to iy. Here, this is a x-axis, this is a x-axis, this is a y-axis, this is a y-axis. Okay, here this is the z-axis. Z-axis is the axis passing through midpoint and perpendicular to plane of the ring. The moment of inertia is mr square. So about x-axis or y-axis, moment of inertia is mr square by 2. Now, based on this point, you tell me. Last one, D. Last point, about diametric axis. About an axis, about tangential axis lies within the plane of the ring. What is the moment of inertia? That is the question I wanted to say here previously. No. So in order to find the moment of inertia of the ring about this axis passing through along the tangent, but lies within the plane of the ring. You imagine there is another axis parallel to given axis and passing through center of mass. It is the center of mass of the ring only. No. So about this axis, moment of inertia is Ig. Now, according to parallel axis theorem, moment of inertia about this tangential axis parallel to within the plane of the ring, I is equal to Ig plus m into perpendicular distance square, general formula. Ig means, Ig is the diametric axis, no? This is the axis parallel to given axis passing through center. This is the diametric axis. Okay, about diametric axis, what is the moment of inertia? mr square by 2 plus m into perpendicular distance between two parallel axes square, that is equal to r only. So r square. Therefore, I is equal to 3 mr square by 2. Sometimes about this axis, what is the radius of gyration? They may ask, what is the radius of gyration? So about this axis, if they ask to find the radius of gyration, about this axis, you find the moment of inertia of the entire ring, that is equal to this one. That is equal to, you make them equal to mass into radius of gyration square. Mass means only one ring is there. So mass m into radius of gyration square means k square. Then mm cancel. Then k is equal to root to 3 by 2 into r. This is the radius of gyration of this ring about this axis. In this way, we have to do. Okay. Right, Nana. With this, I will close the class, conclude the class. Today, if possible, I will make video and I will keep in WhatsApp group. Otherwise, tomorrow I will discuss. So based on this, if I would not send the video, then you have to do the problems based on this. Okay, right. Have a nice day. I'm signing out. Okay, Nana, bye. Okay, for this, everything I will explain. Right, bye, Nana.